The U.S. Secretary of State arrives in Israel amid growing tensions between the two countries. And the Justice Department is suing Campbell's, one of several suits filed against the soup company. The Morning Rundown starts now.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world. This is the Morning Rundown.
Today is Friday, March 22nd. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kara Rucker. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has arrived in Israel, landing this morning in Tel Aviv to begin talks with Israeli officials as tensions continue to build between the two allies over the war in Gaza. Blinken is expected to tell Israeli leaders in person the United States believes Israel's planned invasion of the city of Rafah would be a mistake, where more than 1 million Palestinians are seeking refuge. Blinken's visit follows his meeting with leaders across the region, including Egypt and Saudi Arabia. The Secretary of State says the U.S. is still pushing for a deal that would see a temporary ceasefire and the release of hostages, even with prior proposals falling through. CIA Director William Burns will be in Qatar today to continue negotiations with Hamas. Meanwhile, the UN Security Council is set to vote today on a U.S.-sponsored resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire and condemning Hamas's attack on Israel. Congress is racing to approve a $1.2 trillion spending package to avert a government shutdown before tonight's deadline. The package, which includes 6 annual spending bills, directs over 70% of its funds to defense. It also includes a 5.2% pay raise for service members and allocates funding to Homeland Security, Health and Human Services, among other departments. The House will vote first, needing 2/3 support to approve the package, and then in the Senate, all 100 senators must agree for the legislation to pass. U.S. Senator Bob Menendez announced that he will not run for re-election this year in New Jersey's Democratic primary as he fights federal corruption charges, but says the option of running as an independent later this year is still on the table, depending on if he's exonerated. Menendez is accused of accepting bribes from foreign governments like Egypt and Qatar, and in exchange received hundreds of thousands of dollars. Menendez has pleaded not guilty, saying the accusations have left a cloud over his career. He announced his decision in a 9-minute video posted to social media.
I know many of you are hurt and disappointed in me with the accusations I'm facing. Believe me, I am disappointed at the false accusations as well. All I can ask of you is to withhold judgment until justice takes place. Until then, I will continue to work my heart out each and every day, as I have for the past 19 years, to fight for New Jersey, for you, your family, and a more prosperous, secure future.
Menendez says he is hopeful he will be exonerated at a trial scheduled for May. Soup maker Campbell's is being sued by the U.S. government. The company accused of polluting a river that flows into Lake Erie. In its lawsuit, the Justice Department says Campbell's has violated pollution limits at its northwestern Ohio plant since 2018. The DOJ says bacteria and E. coli were some of the pollutants found in the waters coming from Campbell's plant. The lawsuit came just hours after similar suits were filed by 2 environmental groups. The suits are asking for the court to fine Campbell's for more than 5,000 violations and force the company to upgrade its plant's wastewater treatment facility. Campbell's issuing a statement saying the company is taking the concerns very seriously and acting to permanently resolve them. In just a little over 2 weeks, 30 million Americans will be able to witness a total solar eclipse in their home states. And with millions more expected to travel across the country for the event, the Federal Aviation Administration has issued a warning. In a bulletin titled Special Air Traffic Procedures, the FAA says there could be disruptions to air travel before and after the eclipse on April 8th. FAA warning of higher than normal traffic volume and delays at airports along the path of the eclipse, including in cities like Cleveland, Dallas, and Indianapolis. 15 states are located in what is known as the path of totality, when the moon completely blocks the sun for several minutes. But every state will experience at least a partial solar eclipse. Look out for a special report on the total solar eclipse on SAN.com in the coming days. Finally this morning, with the first round of the men's NCAA tournament kicking off yesterday, many are waking up this morning to a busted bracket. But not everyone. There are still some whose brackets remain perfect. After 16 games, more than 2,000 brackets are intact. That's from more than 29 million entries across the major online tournament challenges, including the NCAA, ESPN, CBS, and Yahoo. The NCAA saying most brackets were busted after just the first 2 games, with victories from number 9 Michigan State and number 11 Duquesne. Then the big upset of number 14 Oakland defeating number 3 Kentucky took out even more. 6.5% of brackets had Kentucky winning it all. The NCAA saying despite all the busted brackets, fans had more accurate predictions than last year when only 787 brackets remained perfect after the first day. These are your top stories for this Friday. Unbiased, straight facts. That's Straight Arrow News. We'll see you back here on Monday. Until then, I'm Kara Rucker. Have a great weekend.